and let's get Robin in. Super fuel your life. We are going to have an absolutely amazing Let's get all connected, get our sound. I'm so excited. Mondays are my favorite day. I hope you guys love Mondays too. Give us 2 seconds and the sound should connect.
Oh, I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Excellent.
Yay!
Yay! I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Hi, Robin. So
hello.
Face, we get to put a face to the name. It's so nice to meet you. So I would love for you to take a moment to introduce yourself first, because some of my people don't know who you are yet.
Well, perfect. Thanks a lot for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I love the lights in behind. That is amazing.
Fun.
That's great. Well, you know, who am I? I'm Robin Younge. I'm deeply passionate about helping people get into ketosis. I've been a keto coach and a fasting coach for some time now, and I understand the ups and the downs of what it is to get into ketosis, and there's multiple ways by which we get into it, and I love helping to support people whichever way they would like.
Yay!
So that's the short.
That's the short. So today we're going to share our story, and we're going to kind of get into the long of it. I told everyone we're going to discuss why it's important to share your journey. We're all uncomfortable putting our story out there, putting our personal information out there, but I want to talk to you about the value in that, how that changes other people's lives. So I want to start with, how did you find keto?
Wow. Okay, so we're really going for the long story here.
We're going. I told them we're sharing the whole, we're getting the dirty today, like the whole meeting.
Okay. Well, let's start when I was wee. So basically when I was a teenager, I started suffering from depression that was not your typical type of depression that you would think about, you know, don't have a job or your girlfriend just dumped you or not enough money in your wallet. But this was actually clinical depression where I had something that was taking over my body, like a droning. I would wake up and there would be like a 1 second split of feeling normal, and then it would just hit me. Yeah, and that was just normal. I went to doctors. I went and sought the help. One of the gifts that I feel that I have is I've always been driven for better in my life, always. So I've never slacked on working to achieve better. So I went and I followed those typical routes that most people follow. I exercised, I watched what I ate, I went to my doctor, I went for talk therapy, I did it all. And in my early teens, I was on medications. And every 6 months to a year, we were trying new ones. Nothing helped. And then when we kept going on with the medications, side effects were kicking in from the medications, and we stopped focusing on the right medication for me, but now we're taking multiple medications so that I'm not dealing with the side effects. 100% just stopped focusing on the depression. So I'm having like multitude of side effects happening, and now it's like, okay, let's take this pill for this pill for that. So now I'm up to like multiple pills every single day or twice a day, just so that I can start to hopefully feel normal, which I never did.
Kind of function, right?
Yeah. But the crazy thing about it was I never felt like my feet were on the ground. I never felt like I was actually achieving, getting ahead and accomplishing things in my life. I felt like I was always playing catch up all the time. And there was so much anxiety building up within me, especially once I hit my 20s. My depression actually got to the point where I was now overweight. I couldn't exercise. I was sleeping all day. And multiple times through my 20s, I was hospitalized because of this. It was quite severe to the point where people actually took me to the hospital. They were Robin, we got to take you. And a few other reasons why I ended up in the hospital, which is probably too much for this. But in saying that, I was totally lost. And interestingly enough, I even had a background in nutrition I got when I was in my early 20s. And throughout my whole 20s, I ran an organic food company applying my knowledge to help people with meal plans. But I felt like I was such a contradiction because I felt terrible, absolutely terrible. And then about 10 years ago, I met a woman and she changed my life. And every day I am beyond grateful to know that we get to live today together. It's beautiful. So what happened was about 3 years ago, I just said enough was enough. I was making a permanent indent on my couch. All I did was I'd get up, I'd go do the monotonous job every single day, come home. Not only did I have the depression going on for me, but I had the anxiety of not being the person who I believed I should be and could be for the woman and children that I love. So now I've got two things happening here. So one day, about 3 years ago, it just happened. I mean, have you ever had one of those times where it just pops into your head, and if you just listen and you move forward, it changes your life?
Happened to me.
Yeah. So I just opened my computer one day and I just said, enough's enough, and just started typing alternative ways of healing the brain from depression. And I came across an author named Tim Ferriss. And Tim Ferriss is widely known in the world of biohacking and ketones.
Yes.
And he started talking about the ketogenic diet. And I was like, what is this? I had no idea. With all the knowledge I had, I'm now 70 pounds overweight, miserable, think I know what I'm talking about, which actually is not proving to be true. Something's fishy. And started learning about the keto diet. But my exhaustion, not only physical, but mental exhaustion was so severe, the idea of actually cooking a keto diet was just not going to happen. There's no way. I started really, really learning that a lot of what the keto diet is just isn't the case. A true ketogenic diet is anywhere from 80 to 90% fat intake for true brain fueling. It's a lot different than most people think.
Yes.
So he started talking about fasting, and I started learning from one of the top keto scientists in the world, Dr. Dominique D'Agostino, and he started talking, and Ben Greenfield, and I started learning about these guys and what ketones do for neurotransmitters in the brain. And I went, wow, there's something to this. I can fast. Well, fasting's easy, so I thought, but I actually had to train myself to fasting. And after about a few months of, moving to skipping my breakfast, to moving to skipping my lunch, and focusing on to where I am nowadays, which is one meal a day, my eating window is about 2 hours every single day. It's quite small, so I'm always in a fasted state. But that started to make shifts. And it was a weird feeling for me that, well, wait a minute. I thought we're supposed to eat 5 small meals a day. Well, wait a minute.
Robin, 6.
Oh, 6? Right. My apologies.
Don't skip a meal. You'll die.
You'll die.
I'm
yes.
sorry. You'll die.
And you know what? Interestingly enough, there is validity to that because somebody's home. My pups are going on. They're going to bark for a second until Sarah comes in the door.
Don't mind. We love the dogs here. Ladies, barking puppies, that's how we do. We love it. We all animals, and they do this.
Oh, unfortunately, there's somebody knocking on my door. Can you hold on just a sec?
Yes.
Thanks. 1 sec.
We'll hold it up. It's all good. Hi, guys. So, while we're waiting, I will other stuff on the go for Monday. Later this evening, we're going to get it. Oh, there we go. We'll catch up.
I'm back. So we were at, thank you for that. It was actually the postman.
The nerve of him to bring you mail. Was it something good?
I don't know. I just left it in the box, but I did get 2 awesome packages this morning, which is pretty exciting.
I love packages. Mail day is my favorite. We have a song for that, and we dance in my mail. Just say.
Well, you would love my front door because I get packages almost every single day.
Oh,
It's pretty fun.
oh,
It's
my
pretty
dog
fun.
like terrible when somebody has the nerve to knock on my door, like
W-
over
Well,
ends, like
oh yeah, my dogs too as well. Totally. They will lick you to death and protect their house. Even when we all walk in, they see us coming up the door, up the steps, they know it's us, but they just lose their mind. It's pretty funny.
I'm protecting, I'm protecting. See, you're doing
Totally.
your job, dog,
That's their job.
right?
Yeah.
My cat's job is to trip me when I'm trying to walk and to
Oh,
sleep
wow.
on all of my things. That's his job. It's what he does.
That's funny. Well, I was saying about there is some validity to the whole 6 meals a day because it's what we've been taught. And so many of us are insulin resistant to the point of almost type 2 diabetes, which doesn't mean you have to be fat. You know, so we end up getting hypoglycemic and we end up having all the symptoms of where we feel we need to eat, which is just really not the case. And so that's a whole other story. But once I started to fast, I started to feel something shifting. Something was shifting to the point where after about 6 months of fasting, things really kind of started kicking into place. And then about 6 months after that, I was feeling pretty darn good. I wasn't near where I wanted to be because at the same time with the fasting, I wasn't following a keto diet. So I was going more high fat, but there's this misconception of, I eat keto. Well, you either are keto or you're not. There's no I eat keto. You eat a high fat diet, I get that, or like a low carb, but there's no you're either ketogenic or you're not. It's such a loose term that's used nowadays, but you're either keto or you're just following more of a high fat, low carb lifestyle.
Yes. Now, I hate to interrupt you, but this is like the perfect moment. I want to talk, kind of off topic, but Dory
Yeah,
does this, about
yeah,
the fat, because we talk about high fat, high fat, high fat all of the time. I have a friend of mine who just recently started keto. He phoned me last night and he said, I'm struggling and I don't think I'm getting enough fat. And he listed what he's eating. And I said, okay, what I'm not hearing is where you added fat to anything you ate. So
hmm,
here's my question, Robin. We can get high fat just by eating like sour cream and cheese and, those kinds of things, right?
for sure.
For sure. So
Yeah.
the real fat, hello, will the real fat stand up? What are good fats and how do we get them? Because all day long we can preach, get that fat, but then people go home and they go, oh no, I eat keto. I don't eat carbs. I don't eat sugar.
Right.
I'm keto. But if you're not getting that fat, baby, is that keto?
Yeah, so let's get past let's get a better understanding of what keto really is, a ketogenic diet. A ketogenic diet was developed in the early 1920s for children who were suffering from epileptic seizures. The ketogenic diet is a scientifically backed and based diet in order to keep the body in a state of suspended starvation of glucose. So let's go back even further. At about 3 months of development within the womb, a baby goes into ketosis. The brain is developed with ketones, and something even super significant as the myelin sheath that runs around all of our nerves. So if you think of a wire has like a protective shield around it, and you can strip away the plastic to get to the wire. Your nerves are exactly the same way. So ketones also really help to develop even that, which is really, really important. And as the baby comes out of the womb and starts to be nursed, that baby is still in a state of suspended ketosis from breast milk, and also the baby comes out nice and chubby, metabolizing its own body fat in order to be creating endogenous ketones. So we are designed to be living as ketogenic people using fat as our primary source of metabolism for fuel. That was a lot. So replay this if you can, but it's a little bit much. So in order to truly be in ketosis, it gets complicated. So here's the quickest way of finding out you in ketosis.
Okay.
We measure ketone bodies in something called millimolars. And the greatest way to test your ketone bodies, we hear about testing with our breath, which is don't bother. We hear about testing with our urine, don't bother. But the one ketone we want to test with is our blood, which a very specific ketone is called beta hydroxybutyrate.
Okay.
Now that is the fuel. That's the one we want. The other two are acetone and acetoacetate, which are byproducts of beta hydroxybutyrate. So if you want to know your maximum level of where you efficiently run in ketosis, stop eating. In 4 days, test your blood and see what your ketone bodies are at. Because everybody's body is different, and your max ketone production will regulate itself. So yours, Dory, might be 4 millimolars. Mine might be 2.5. That doesn't mean we're less efficient by being at a different level. Everybody is different. So now let's say, Dory, you're at 4 millimolars, okay?
Okay.
Now you have to match that with the diet.
Okay.
Now, right? So you know where you efficiently run. Now match it with the macronutrients of your fats, carbs, and your proteins to get your body to 4 millimolars through nutrition, to suspend you in that state of fasting.
Okay.
That's what makes it super tricky, is that a lot of people most people focus on a keto diet for weight loss. That's like 99%, unless you're dealing with a disease of some sort and you're fortunate enough to work with a healthcare practitioner that supports a ketogenic diet. Most people want weight loss. But most people that I work with, when I get them to test their ketone bodies, it's very, very low. Anybody on the planet will lose weight if you stop eating processed carbs and sugars. Everybody. So they think they're in ketosis, but they actually have just restricted their carb and sugar intake to such a degree that they're losing weight. But the side effect of being super low carb and not in ketosis is a lack of energy, terrible sleeping, body cramps, sugar and carb cravings that are still happening because we haven't switched our fuel source over to be predominantly ketosis. We're still using glucose, but now we're being inefficient at the glucose we're putting in. You see how scientific and tough this diet can be?
Well, and for me, that's the sciencey explanation for Dory. How come I don't have your energy? Because I get that all the time. Where's this keto energy everybody speaks of that, Dory runs around with everywhere? And that came for me right away. Like
Totally.
within the first couple weeks, all of a sudden I had all this energy. I sleep less, but it's more efficient sleep. I get a better sleep. I wake up in the morning ready to go. Like there's more laying in bed for an hour wishing the world would go away. As soon as my eyes open, I'm like, okay, time to get up.
You're ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yeah. And so you're very fortunate because there's a lot of reasons why somebody will really, really go for the ketogenic diet. They'll really, really attempt it, but there's so many reasons why somebody actually won't even be able to attain ketosis. Without getting sciencey on it, there's multiple reasons, and one of the biggest reasons is stress. Most people don't even know that stress will, one, never allow you to get into ketosis because when we are stressed, our adrenal glands pump out a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is that fight or flight, 12 bears are chasing you. And in environments of stress, we constantly have this running through our body. When we have cortisol in our body on a constant basis, cortisol triggers insulin to be pumped out from the pancreas. And insulin, anytime you eat food, insulin's job, one of its jobs is to put the nutrients that you've given, the fuel, into your cells and into your tissues for absorption and to be used as fuel.
Okay.
But insulin's other job is a fat storing hormone. Most people don't know this. So when you have an abundance of cortisol in your body, cortisol triggers insulin production within your blood.
Okay.
So it's this constantly the dog chasing its own tail. So you're trying to follow a diet or take a diet into a lifestyle, but you're constantly stressed for multiple reasons. Even eating carbs and sugars releases cortisol in the body. Or you're just environmentally stressed, work or home life or can't pay the bills. These will all either not let you get into ketosis or will easily kick you out consistently.
Yes.
And
Well, let's go there, because you could just like lower your stress level, right? Everybody says that. Well, you're not losing any weight because you're under stress. So, de-stress a little.
yeah,
Take 5 minutes for you, Robin. Take 5 minutes for you, and then you're gonna start losing weight. That's how it works,
totally.
right? Like totally doable.
But the thing is, yes, but here's the thing you have to remember is that your body's all based on programs.
Mm-hmm.
Your body doesn't have an idea of what is or is not good for it. It will just say, well, what I'm receiving a lot of is keeping me alive, therefore I will continue in the production of X, Y, or Z.
Okay.
So you have to change your lifestyle and your programs in order to achieve different results. And with the keto diet, there's ways that I actually really enjoy supporting people, because I do believe that ketones is the better fuel. And it's not even opinion based, it's scientifically backed that ketones are like jet fuel, while glucose, which comes from carbs and sugars, is like gasoline. Which one do you want in your body? Especially when your brain fires at such a high level with the use of ketones, the way it was designed. But unfortunately, due to marketing and due to the accessibility and easeability of food nowadays, we use an inferior fuel to constantly be running us. So no wonder people are insulin resistant and becoming type 2 diabetics. No wonder people are getting type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's disease. No wonder people's adrenal glands are constantly on the go. It really comes down a lot to the fuel that we're putting in our body. We forget as a society that food is not about flavor. Food is fuel. We focus on calories. Oh, this is X number of calories. But your body doesn't understand calories. It understands fuel and what hormone response do we make based on the fuel you're putting in.
Absolutely. So on that note, I think it's kind of a good time to talk a little bit about when you are switching over from burning one fuel source to the other. Because again, a lot of people are in their beginning phase. And when you first start eating keto, it's like you can't eat enough, right? And you think, how am I ever going to lose weight eating this? And then all of a sudden, a couple weeks in, something weird starts to happen. I won't call it magical yet, because for most people, it freaks them out. And all of a sudden, they wake up one day and they're like, I'm not really hungry. Dory, will I ever be hungry again? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I'm not hungry. So let's talk a little bit about that. And what causes that, Robin? And what is that?
Well, when we eat, within our gut and our brain, every time we eat, it's all about hormones, like which I just mentioned. And we have very specific hormones that communicate with insulin and cortisol and leptin and satiety hormones. So when we eat, we're normally get to a point where we're like, okay, I'm full. But that only happens if you're actually restricting simple carbs and sugars out of your diet, because they don't actually trigger the correct hormonal response. So, if like you go and eat Chinese food, or let's say you order yourself a pizza, you can eat a whole large pizza without a problem.
Right.
But if you ate a high fat, really good vegetables and protein salad, you'll be stuffed with a very small amount in comparison to a large pizza, is because the correct foods that you put into your body trigger the correct hormonal response. so that your body actually says, I'm full and can regulate itself properly. Now, in the beginning, when people follow a keto diet, they're dealing with a lot of addiction issues when it comes to getting the glucose out of the system. It's highly addictive. It's recognized as more addictive than cocaine and heroin to rid your body from.
Yes.
And when it comes to the keto diet, and it's such a high fat, most people think of keto as like the Atkins diet. Atkins diet has its place, but it's primarily protein. But if you actually go to the Atkins site now and look, it's predominantly fat based.
Oh.
They've come to understand. So if you're hungry in the beginning of transitioning into a ketogenic diet, or you're just wanting to follow more of a high fat lifestyle, if you're constantly hungry, you're not eating enough fat. And you're not eating enough green, dark leafy vegetables. It's very important because most people, when they follow a ketogenic diet, actually become mineral deficient
Yes.
because ketones are water soluble. So they're a diuretic. So when you start losing fat, you actually deplete out of the fat cells all your the minerals that you need, potassium, calcium, magnesium. These all get depleted as well. So it's so super important on the keto diet that you're actually supplementing with some form of an electrolyte.
And let's talk a little bit about that, because that's the demon behind the mystery keto flu, isn't it, Robin?
It's totally, yeah, it's just a mineral deficiency.
And
It,
people stress out about it. I actually had a lady who messaged me and said, okay, Dory, I've done all my research. I
mhm.
think I'm ready to keto, but I need to figure out where I can fit 2 weeks to be sick in my schedule.
Right.
I was like, what? Okay, so let's talk about that, because we don't have to plan to be sick. There's a plan we can put into place to not get sick. Everybody kind of does it their own way. What do you recommend?
Well, I recommend something that actually 100, well, here's the thing, before I say that, there are other things going on than is just mineral deficiencies. And the biggest one is a glucose dependency.
Mm-hmm.
Your body, think of it like this. Imagine you have a pickup truck.
Okay.
Most big pickup trucks have two fuel tanks. They have the main fuel tank and they have the reserve. Okay? So remember I mentioned before about insulin?
Yes.
Insulin, how our body's designed is when we consume food that converts to glucose, our body uses some and stores a little for later.
Ooh, okay.
Okay? That's how we're designed. So in times of depletion, we can tap into the reserve tank, right?
Okay.
Okay. So when we're really young, we're very efficient at using an inefficient fuel source. So when we eat, let's say, you're a kid, you can't put on any weight, you have abundance of energy, and you're a human carburetor, right? So you go off, you eat whatever you want, and you can't gain a pound.
That's
So
fine.
yeah. So what that means is that when you get that glucose into your blood, your body uses a ton of it and stores very, very little as fat.
Okay.
You can't get away from this. It's how you're designed to run efficiently. But
Okay.
as we age, we start to use less and start to store more. And then as we age more, we become this is what's called insulin resistancy, which is pre-type 2 diabetes. So
Okay.
we start to use even less and less and less because our cells are so jam-packed with glucose already and we can't efficiently use it. So we start storing more and more and more to the point where we become insulin resistant, that we become a type 2 diabetic. And most people, here's the thing, is that if you're insulin resistant, if you're starting to notice weight going on, most people, all they're doing is focusing on, wow, I'm feeling fat, but they forget that your brain needs fuel. So
Yeah.
if you're insulin resistant in the body, you're also insulin resistant to the brain. So that is, and most people don't think about food that we eat is brain fuel, and either we're giving it the optimal one or we're not. So when people start switching over to keto, We have to get through that first tank before we can ever tap into that reserve. And if
Yes.
you have been using glucose as a primary fuel source for years, think about let's say you're 35 years old and now you want to start keto. Every day you wake up, you have breakfast, you fill up the tank. Then you have lunch, you fill up the tank. And then dinner time comes around, you fill up the tank, you have dessert, you fill up the tank. Do that for 35 years. Well, what happens is when you start fasting or you start wanting to follow a keto diet or implementing the two, what happens to a gas tank that has been constantly topped up for 35 years? What's at the bottom of that tank?
Yucky sludge.
Yucky sludge. So as much as minerals are being depleted from our body, we also have to work through the sludge, the all the fungus and bacteria and viruses and everything that is stored within our cells. We have to work through that, and we can get sick no matter how much of the minerals we're putting back in and how well we're eating and how much rest we're getting. This is toxins that we have to get through our body. Now, I don't believe that somebody should go keto right away. I believe this is something that they should build up to, so that when they get to that point, you have to remember you've trained your body a certain way for so long. If you go cold turkey on something, your body will go into shock.
Yes.
So it's important to build up.
Yes. Well, and for me, because I'm a visual person, I describe it to people this way, especially if they're pet owners.
Right.
If you were to switch your dog's food and go to the vet and the vet said, "Oh, your dog has a wheat allergy, Robin, we're going to switch your dog food," would they say, "Here's your new bag of wheat-free food, go home and feed your dog"?
Totally.
Or would they say, "You add in a little of the new food, ease out the old food," because guess what? Your dog gets sick. They get
exactly the same thing.
The same way. So for me, I eased into keto, and I tell people, first focus on lowering your carbs, cutting your sugar.
Yeah.
Week 1, week 2, and then after that, we talk about replacing things. Replace your potatoes with cauliflower, replace your bread with mug bread, replace, your pasta side dish with a steamed vegetable with fat. And then we learn about getting in all the good fats. And I know everybody kind of has their own way. And I think it divides down the middle. Rip off the Band-Aid and do it all, or ease in slowly.
Totally. And now there's a third option.
Ooh, okay. I like options. Tell me.
Yeah. And we talked about it before, about what an area in a field that I'm really passionate about right now. Would now be an okay time to talk about that?
Yes, go ahead. Like
so
5 minutes left, we got lots of time.
Okay, perfect. The two primary ways of getting ketosis, a ketogenic diet. Awesome. The other way of getting into ketosis, which is quicker, but then you have to eat again, is fasting. The third option of getting into ketosis is drinking pure therapeutic ketones.
Okay. What's the difference, Robin? Because that's what my people are going to want to know right away. When you say pure therapeutic ketones, how is that different from, there's how many, I don't know, kinds of ketones on the market? I've lost count.
Right.
Lost count. So what's the difference between pure therapeutic and a regular?
Okay. So pure therapeutic ketones are the only ones we really have to talk about. Pure therapeutic ketones are bioidentical. So what does that mean? When we go into ketosis, our liver metabolizes fat, okay? Whether it be on the body or the fat that we're eating. Our liver converts that fat into ketones, puts them in the blood, and your body uses that as fuel. Okay. Drinking pure therapeutic ketones is the exact same ketone your body makes from fat metabolism. So now you can, and this is it right here. This is when I drink a bottle of this bottle of the ketones, I am in a state of ketosis in 15 minutes that takes somebody a month to achieve.
Oh,
So I have the ability of taking a diet and using it as a tool.
okay.
So how can you apply this into your life? Okay, first of all, if you drank these ketones and tested your blood within 30 minutes of finishing, you will see that you are in a heightened state of ketosis. All ketosis means is when ketones are in abundance, they become your default fuel system.
Okay, that makes
So,
sense.
right. So when you're in a state of, let's say you're fasting, okay, you're depleting the glucose tank.
Okay.
If you drank ketones at the same time, you're biohacking your body into that state of ketosis that takes 4 days to achieve in 15 minutes. So you're getting all the benefits right away while you're allowing your glucose tank to deplete. So no side effects of fasting. So if you're following a ketogenic diet, you're in ketosis right away. So you're not going through dealing with the sludge. You're not dealing with a lack of energy. You're not dealing with terrible sleeps or not sleeping. You're not dealing with mood issues. You're not dealing with satiety hormones having to take over. You're not hungry. You're not dealing with sugar and carb cravings. All the things that people want from a ketogenic diet start in 15 minutes
Ooh.
and go up to and last for about 8 hours. So if you drank two a day, you would be in ketosis all day. But that's not the best part. The best part is that ketones are working on a cellular level. So
Okay.
it's not just, oh, if I drink them now and then it goes away, do I have to, make sure I drink 5 a day? No. We recommend drinking two a day for like optimally, but we're working on regenerating the cells in the mitochondria and the energy source of our brain. When you drink these ketones, your body says, oh my gosh, and it takes up the ketones to the brain and actually kickstarts your liver to start burning fat.
Ooh.
So it has nothing to do with the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet in itself is amazing.
Oh,
But here's where the ketones, these pure therapeutic ketones help, is that they will take people who are interested or have tried for 2 weeks and can't do it, or have gone a month and just can't get to that level, or they're feeling emotionally not able to stay on it because they want to have dinner with friends and family, or it's tough when they're out at work or they're traveling. This allows you to continue doing what you're doing in your keto world and never worry about being kicked out.
okay. So I have a question, and this is going to be a good one, and we're going to go there because I think as a whole, our ketogenic community splits into three parts when it
Cool.
comes to ketones.
Yeah.
I think there's the camp who are like, "Are you kidding? That's expensive pee." You know what? I could take a pregnancy hormone. I could pee on a pregnancy stick, and it's going to tell me I'm pregnant, but I'm
Sure.
not more pregnant than I am in ketosis. And
Right.
then you have the people who are like, do you know what? If you get the good, proper therapeutic ketones, they can be used for, medical purposes, treating cancer, treating Alzheimer's, all of that. And then we have the third group who are like, well, no, that's the same miracle shake that everybody's been peddling for the last 60 years. For 2 weeks, I can lose 20 pounds shake. So I really want to kind of talk a little about each of those camps a little because I know that's what everybody's thinking right now. Like
Right.
everybody falls into one of those spots. So let's hit first I know I'm going to get the argument, Dory. That's expensive pee. How dare you invite somebody on your channel, Dory, who would talk about ketones? I thought I could trust you, Dory. I
Totally.
thought you knew better than that. So
Yeah.
let's talk about those people first.
Expensive pee people.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
dude, they're everywhere.
totally. And I respect that. A lot of people don't know what actually peeing on a pee strip means.
Okay.
So when we pee on a strip, we're not. So let's first off, the ketone that's actually running our body, that's giving us all the benefit, is called beta hydroxybutyrate.
Okay.
Okay. Our body makes three ketones: beta hydroxybutyrate, acetoacetate, acetone. Okay. When we pee on a strip, we're not measuring beta hydroxybutyrate. We're measuring acetone, which is the same thing as nail polish remover. Our body makes that.
That's how I was going to remember it.
Yeah, nail polish remover. So ketones are water soluble, meaning
Okay.
our body doesn't store them. What our body is not efficient at using, we release through the bladder.
Okay. So the
Okay?
peeing them out.
So we pee them out.
Okay.
When you pee on a strip, and this happens a lot, this happens for every single person, whether you're fasting keto diet or drinking exogenous ketones or a combination of all of them. In the beginning, you are losing more than you are using because your body is not efficient at absorbing the ketones. So when
Okay.
people pee on a strip and they say, look, Robin, it's really dark. It's showing on the scale. It's
And the
really dark. And I say, great, good start. But that's actually the opposite result we want.
yes.
We want you to pee on a strip and almost nothing happens, which means your body is using more than it is wasting.
Oh, let's pause and talk about that, because when I first started keto, somebody told me I needed the strips. Dory, you
Sure.
need strips. How do you know if you're in ketosis if you're not peeing on the stick every day?
Right.
So I got the sticks and I started peeing on the sticks, and I was like, oh, I am purple AF. Dude, that is like as purple gets. Like that's 5 on the bottle, right?
For sure. That's awesome.
And then all of a sudden, one day I woke up and I wasn't quite so purple. And then I wasn't quite so purple. And then I
Right.
wasn't quite so purple. And I started to panic. And I was like, oh my God, what am I was totally keto AF yesterday.
Right. And now I'm not.
Not keto anymore. What did I do? Oh my God, how did I not keto overnight, Robin?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened?
Well, the thing is that you, like I said, you want to be making sure that you're actually going down in your shades. You're not wanting to be dark, which means your body is becoming more available to the use of the ketones.
Yes.
So a lot of people, it takes a long time for that to happen. It's not that hard to get ketones into the body. For example, if you ate 10 macadamia nuts, that's saturated fat is converted into ketones. You're getting ketones. If
Okay.
you ate 10 macadamia nuts and you peed on a strip, it'll show that you've got ketones in your blood, in your urine. It totally will, but it doesn't mean you're in ketosis. If you ate, what was that?
I said, oh my God, that sounds like the most fun game. Now I have this whole bottle of sticks that I use for nothing now, Robin.
Yeah.
I might amuse myself on a weekend one time and just eat stuff and then see.
Totally. Just eat 10 macadamia nuts and an egg, and then you'll go pee on a strip an hour later. Your body's always making, your body is this hybrid engine. It always is using two fuels.
Okay.
If you eat a steak and you eat the fat the steak, that is not digested the same way that if you ate, that the protein is digested. The fat is put through the portal vein, which goes directly to the liver, which is converted to ketones. While
Okay.
high levels of protein is actually gone through the other process and put in through the blood as glucose. So
Okay.
you're always a dual burner. It's just which is your dominant fuel source.
Oh, okay.
And that's the difference. Is it's why I'm really passionate about the exogenous ketones, because this has nothing to do with the keto diet, but this will take your keto diet to another level. This has nothing to do with fasting, but it will enhance your fasting and your autophagy levels even greater. This
Yes.
is a way for you to take something as a diet and put it as a tool. Because even though ketones are the preferred fuel source for the brain, let's just be honest, most people aren't going to do it.
Yeah. A lot of people won't do it. And I laugh because when they're like, "Oh, Dory, I can't do that. I can't live without bread. I can't live without rice. I can't live without potatoes." I think, you know what? I said those things for lots of years in my life. And I
Yeah,
made excuses for the things that I would rather have than weight loss and health. And I would say things like, Robin, I would do anything to be thin, except for diet or exercise. I don't want to do either of those things.
right.
Neither of those things. But anything else, you sign me up. And I'm
Yeah,
like thin. So I personally limited myself based on I already decided in advance couldn't do that. So
mm-hmm.
I do understand that stumbling block, but now that I've had my aha moment, and I want to
Right.
talk about that next, I forget how I even thought it was going to be hard. Like when people message me and they're like, "Oh, Dory, I'm struggling," I'm like, "But why though? It's so easy. Like it makes so much sense. You eat high fat, you eat moderate protein, you eat low carb. Why so hard? I don't understand why you're struggling so much." And then
Exactly. And I get that. And I'm the same way. And my whole philosophy is always just meeting somebody where they are. And
yeah,
there are people who are trailblazers like yourself who can actually will just go and do it, accomplish, and be like, well, why is it so hard? But then there are most people who need a helping hand. Imagine, think of it like this: you live a lifestyle the way you're living it, right? And you're just going with the flow of life. And then all
oh,
of a sudden you want to make some big shifts, and now you're swimming upstream. Now you're going in through the front door to try and make these big shifts. But what if we could take away all those sugar and carb cravings? What if we could start regulating mood better? What if we could make your sleep better really fast, because sleep is so vitally important? What if we could regulate moods? What if we could get satiety hormones down pat? So I look at it as like, with exogenous ketones, we're coming in through the back door. We're getting your body prepared for the easy transition into eating a high fat lifestyle, if that's your choice. But
nice.
it makes such a big difference. Instead of people going swimming upstream to make these huge shifts, what if there was a way that we could offer a helping hand by getting you there now, not as an excuse to not do it, but as a helping hand to help you transition with so much ease.
Yes. But and you know what? You keep opening up the kettle of fish, and Dory just likes that. So we're gonna, on our last minute, we're gonna hit that one too, Robin. And I'm gonna say, because I know I'm gonna hear this one too. Keto is free, Dory. Nobody should have to pay for Keto Coach. Nobody should have to pay for that help. It's free. It's free knowledge. It should be free to everybody. But I want to say this. Do you want to invest the year of researching and figuring it out that I did on my own by myself, 7 days a week, 16 hours a day to figure out learn all the things I wanted to know? Or do you want to invest some money in your health and fast track it from somebody who already knows? So I want to talk a little bit about that. Why a coach? Why do some people need them? Some people don't, right?
Totally.
Some people can catch on, they can go with fire, they can do it by themselves. But some people need personal coaching. So let's talk a little bit about that before we close out, because I know that's another one of your really, really strong passions, is that one-on-one when somebody really needs that extra.
Well, it really comes down to goals. What's your goal? Do you know how to get there? And do you want to get there as quickly as possible? That's what I feel a coach can offer. On top of it is the emotional aspect of what it takes to actually get into ketosis. And like I said, Dory, you're a trailblazer. You're out there just giving her. And it's like, I'm just going to do this no matter what, because that's an area of yours that you achieve in. And it's beautiful because you can offer so many people amazing support. But not everybody's in that place.
No.
Most people are not. And so in an area where they're going from everything they know to now having to set that aside and start again, a coach really can help you fast track this opportunity. Whether it's with fasting, there's so many different ways of hacking into ketosis and speeding up a process and things that you can do that if somebody wants to go and do that. But here's the thing. If they go and read a book, they're getting coaching. If they go and read the internet, they're getting coaching. There's no difference. No. The other way, you could here's the thing that you don't need any coaching on: fasting. Stop eating. Perfect. It's free. Do it X amount of days a month. You'll have amazing results. No problem. Dinner to dinner, you don't really need any coaching with that. Some people emotionally need support though, and coaching isn't necessarily needed by everybody. But depending on your goals, a coach can definitely take you to attaining those goals in a much quicker time, because we only know what we know. And if you want to know something different, going to the expert in that field will bridge that gap.
Yes. And for me, I think of it this way, because again, I didn't know there was support. When I started keto, I found out by accident. I Googled on my own. I knew low carb stuff, and I went from there. I started Googling low carb dishes, and I went from there, and I did that. But for a lot of people, it's easier to be able to find someone who is already successful. Because for me, when I think back to how I figured it out, It was like sitting inside of a pile in the garbage dump, and every piece of information that came at me, I had to look at it, I had to read it, and I had to think, okay, that makes sense or that's garbage. Because every time you Google, I tell you right now, Google, is keto healthy? Google it. Is keto healthy? And you're going to get 10 different articles with 10 different answers. And guess what? I read all 10 of those articles.
For
and
sure.
through each of them, I sat there and went, okay, well, that makes sense, that doesn't. That makes sense, that doesn't. Okay. And you literally pick through a sea of knowledge to go, oh, that one's a shiny gem. In my pocket. I'm gonna save that for later. What?
Yeah.
But it's hours, like hours, days, weeks, months, years of sorting through and literally trusting your intuition. Because, Lord love you, Robin, I'm a faith girl, not a science girl. So everything I read, even if it's science, I have to break it down and go, okay, does that make sense to me?
I'm the same way.
Get on the science train all you want. If that doesn't make sense, I'm like, science, schmience.
Well, here's the thing. And to add to that, I'll tell you the train that I'm on is the results train.
Yes.
I want results. Like, how quickly can we help you? That's literally, and where are you? And how can we meet you where you are? Instead of taking you from where you are to somewhere over left field, there can be this purist mentality when it comes to the keto world. And unfortunately, that doesn't allow for people to genuinely connect with somebody else.
Oh, the keto police have never hassled you, Robin.
All the time. Especially when it comes to the world of exogenous ketones.
Oh.
They're coming from like the keto police. They're the thing is that there's not a lot of understanding about what it is that pure therapeutic ketones are, because it is fortunately a new technology that was developed for the Navy SEALs and the NASA astronauts. Because here's the thing, even they couldn't attain ketosis. So if they're doing okay, if they couldn't do it, we're good.
Okay, so I'm just saying, if a Navy SEAL has a hard time doing it, I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing amazing. If they have dietitians and nutritionists and people going to put them into this state, if they all could not attain this themselves, because let me put it this way, the military and NASA, like, these are big corporations that really want the best of the best. They invested a lot of money. They understood that every single individual, a keto diet is very different. It is super hard to sustain on a mass scale for every single person. And so that's where this technology was developed from. It's 100-year-old technology. It's not new. It's just new to us. We now have the opportunity of this. So some people are keto purists. They want to go for it. No problem. Some people want to fast. No problem. And some people want a helping hand, or they don't want the keto diet, or they have all they want to do is help with their energy issues and better sleep. But it doesn't matter what your goals are for getting ketones in the body for fuel, you get all the benefits.
Oh, I absolutely love that. So we have about 3 minutes So
Perfect.
I'd love to leave you an opportunity as we wrap up to let everybody know where they can find you on your social media, because I know everybody's going to want to follow you everywhere. We're your new best friend, Robin, just saying. Hashtag I'm not creepy.
Well, here's the thing. What's really important to myself and my wife is that we really offer people value, meet you where you are, and we love having conversations with people to see how we can best support you. So our Instagram is Super Fuel Your Life. I'll say that again, Super Fuel Your Life, all one word. You can find us there and just send us a message. We're happy to connect, lead you on the path that you're looking to achieve. We want to help you get there as easy and quick as possible, so that whatever your personal better is in life, we want to help support you so that you can achieve that within yourself.
Oh, I love that dedication. And if you guys are watching on Facebook, Robin's link is in the description. Just go click on that right above, right where I'm pointing right here.
Right above.
Right above here, and you can click right on it and find his page. Thank you so much for your time, Robin, and I would love to book something here if you have time, because
oh my gosh, absolutely.
Scratched the surface. We have so much to chat about.
I thank you so much. It's a beautiful honor for you to have me, and I just love the psychedelic aspect that I've been staring at for this last hour.
Oh,
Wonderful.
we're never so fun.
Oh, a beautiful time. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.